What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to be talking about all the different sizes and types of fittings that go on a hydraulic pump. This was a requested video, and I hope that I answer the question that they had because it didn't quite go into exactly what it was that you wanted to know. But just to try and answer your question, I've made some diagrams on the different types of fittings, what their actual physical name are, and not just the slang terms of what we call them. So hopefully this video helps you out. Now, before I go into getting those diagrams up, I do want to point out a couple of things. Anytime that you're dealing with a hydraulic setup, there's a few aspects of the hydraulic setup that you should know. One, restriction is bad, meaning if you have multiple fittings that choke down everything, that is not always a good thing. Now, there's a certain math to it all. Let's just say, for example, a simple math. If you take a 1-inch port and divide it by 2, that's ½ inch. Well, that makes sense. So it's divided evenly. Okay. Same thing for a 3/4 port, two 3/8 lines. The math works out. With that said, if you're going from, let's just say, a ½ inch port to a 3/8 to a ½ inch lines going out, you just messed up everything, because that 3/8 line or 3/8 fitting that you have in there is now choking it down and restricting it, but then it's opening back up to go to your cylinders. The next thing, the more straight fittings that you can have, the better. So what do I mean by that? When you have a 90-degree, just imagine that now the fluid has to turn. Well, if it was to go straight, it would keep its travel, keep going in that direction. So I guess my point is, if you've got a bunch of 90s in your setup, well, then that causes restriction. Obviously, you don't want restriction, and sometimes it can't be avoided. Under the hood, with hoppers and stuff like that, most of the time they will have theirs going straight down into the cylinder. So the hoses will go off into the cylinder that way instead of running 90s. Well, same thing applies for in the trunk. If you're in the trunk, you have to have a little bit of leeway, because nobody really has their pumps to where it just comes straight up and out. Okay, so it just doesn't generally happen. There's always some sort of a turn of some kind. So, but anyway, the point is remember that when you're putting fittings together, if you're causing restriction, if it goes down and up, then you're kind of messing yourself up. You want to have a consistent flow. You want it not to be restricted as much as possible, and that's pretty much it. So now I'm going to go into all the different fittings, and hopefully these diagrams answer all the questions that you have. One thing that is a common question is what size do I have? Well, the easiest way that I can explain it, if I look at a fitting or something like that, I can just look at it and know. But I know that you guys aren't going to be in that same boat. But I've seen these things like 1,000 times. But I guess my point is the easiest way to identify what you have. The most common dump hose is 3/8 in size. Okay, so if you look at a dump hose that looks just like this one, which you should have dump hoses of some kind on there. If I can get this dump hose off. This is a standard dump hose, okay? A standard 3/8 dump hose. If this dump hose will fit or looks like the exact size of the hoses that are going out to your cylinders, well, then chances are you've got a 3/8 lines going out everywhere. So you've got a 3/8 system, let's just say. With that said, there's different aspects of the lines that you don't want to do. For example, just because you go bigger doesn't necessarily mean better. So what do I mean by that? All right, so let's just say that you've got a pump here, and you want to take it, and all of a sudden you want to run ½ inch lines completely all the way out. So you've got a ½ inch port on top, and then you try to run ½ inch lines all the way out. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a good thing. And the reason why is because now you're creating more volume to go out there instead of more pressure. It would make more sense to go with if you have a ½ inch port, let's just say, it would make more sense to go ½ inch port out and then 3/8 lines out, so it's more pressure than volume, if that makes any sense. Now, like I said, there's a math to all of this, so it's not just as simple as, oh, well, this is the way you need to do it. And plus, there's 1,000 opinions on how you should do this. But when it comes right down to it, there's so many different aspects to a hydraulic system that it is hard to map out specifically what you would want to do. It also comes down to which pump head you have. Which pump head, it could be, you know, the traditional sizes that we run into today is 9, 11, 13. Hoppers on 13 generally. You know, your standard street stuff's around the number 9 gears. Then it also depends on who made the pump heads. Are they the China ones, or are they Presto? Are they Marzucci? You know, who makes them? So basically, anyway, long story short, there's more to it than just a simple, you know, fittings and everything. You can't just go and say, oh, I'm going to have a number 9, a 1-inch port, and 1/2-inch lines all the way out. Well, that number 9 is probably not strong enough to really do too much. But if you don't have enough batteries to run a number 13, you're not doing much either. So it's kind of like a bicycle. If you know, like a 10-speed bicycle that changes gears, there's a lot of different moving parts to it. So you may be cranking fast with your legs on a small sprocket, but on a big sprocket, you're actually cranking more, you know, speed, overall top speed. I know that's kind of a weird way of looking at it, but anyway, the point is there's a math to all of this. But when it comes to the fittings, here is the different diagrams, and hopefully this answers every and all question. Make sure that you subscribe, like, and comment in the comment section below. If anything is unclear on here, ask the question, I'll answer it. If you're having a different issue, a lot of my videos come from you guys leaving comments and saying, hey, I'm having an issue with this, what can I do? Or how would you go about doing this? Keep in mind, it's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right, but it is my opinion. I've seen a lot of different stuff in my time. In my probably 20 years, actually it's been more than like 22, something like that. Anyway, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned to all the different videos that are coming.